2026 is the year to nail your Formula One fantasy team. Big regulation changes, new drivers, new teams are ready to entertain and enthrall. And there are also some sneaky engine tricks that might be in store. Good morning, good day, or good whenever it is where you are, and welcome to Box F1 Fantasy. My name is Quinton, and I'll be talking about Formula One fantasy, race debriefs, technical analysis, and coming soon, a new Formula One fantasy tool calculator thingy that you might just use to your advantage to win Formula One fantasy this year. That is, if you can beat me. Now, let's get straight into this video. We'll be looking at my price predictions for the 2026 edition of Formula One Fantasy. And I apologize for the echoey sound, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll deal with it. This is going to be pretty raw, uncut. I don't have a lot of time for editing or anything like that. So this is what you get. If you're here for short, straight to the point, unfiltered, and some coffee, stick around. Now, quick disclaimer. I have avoided looking at other price prediction videos and posts on X, Twitter, whatever, and so on. I know some of the other Formula One fantasy creators have already done a video on this, so I'm recording this video, I'll upload it, and then have a look at their videos to see how close we are to each other. So without further ado, let's get into my predictions. So these are ranked from most expensive to cheapest, and we'll start with the constructors. I'm still figuring out the best way how to share this and so on, but bear with me. Here we go. So in theory, you should be seeing my fantastic little spreadsheet. There we go. So constructor. I think McLaren will not be the strongest team this year, but they will start with the highest valuation of 32 million. I did not bother to go into decimal places as that's just too variable, but here you go. So McLaren, $32 million. I think a lot of people are going to start with them, but maybe switch over. I think the constructor to watch out for is Mercedes. And Red Bull. I think Red Bull are going to pull an ace out of their sleeves or something. But yeah, we'll still see how the practice data looks, but I'm probably going to be avoiding McLaren right from the get-go, just because there's so much variability still to be figured out. But here we go. So I think Mercedes, whichever you prefer, is going to be a must for your constructor. And in the next video, I'll talk a little bit about what I think the 2026 season is going to look like. But yeah, I think Mercedes is going to be $29 million. And then I was debating between Ferrari and Red Bull, but just because Ferrari has experience developing the engines, even though there's like rumors about some problems, having two car designs, whatever, I think the engine itself is going to be pretty solid to start with, unless we see a repeat of the DNF streak that we had a few years ago. So regardless of the team, I am 100% sure we're going to have a bunch of DNFs in the first few races. So there will be a lot of chaos going on. So I think Ferrari, 27 million. Red Bull has a bit of a gamble here because like Ford has experience building engines, obviously, but this is a whole nother ball game. This integration between like the electric unit and the ICE unit, internal combustion engine unit, is going to be tricky. There might be some teething problems, as has been floating around in rumors online. So I put them slightly lower than where they were last year. I can't remember exactly how much, but I think this is where we're going to start. Now, like from Aston Martin downward, this is all a bit of a mush because I don't think anybody knows who's going to be where. like in my opinion, the four top constructors is pretty safe. Like it's going to be between these four here. But Aston Martin might sneakily come in there. They've been investing a lot of infrastructure, a lot of talent has been going over to Aston Martin. So I think if Aston Martin has pulled out a miracle from their behinds, they're gonna go up in value. So I'll be keeping an eye on Aston Martin, but I'm not expecting a lot. Alpine, now that I'm looking at this again after a few days of pondering, the only reason I'm putting them at this value is they seem to have like just a slight increase at the end of last season. And because their car supposedly is already at the minimum weight limit, which in itself is like a few tenths of a second. I think a 10 kilogram difference in mass or weight of the car is equivalent to about 0.3 seconds of lap time. So they might be strong contenders in the beginning, especially in the midfield, but if they stay there, it's gonna depend on how quickly they develop the rest of their package. But I think Alpine might be a nice little pundit to take early on. I feel good about Haas. Haas, I think, with Toyota Gazoo Racing coming on board, will keep up with their positive trajectory, in my opinion. I think they're going to start close around 13 or 12 million, and obviously go up or down depending on how much they suck or don't suck. Now, Williams, expect to do very well this year. Like their car and their driver development has been phenomenal. And I'm really impressed with the turnaround they've had in the last few years. And Carlos Sainz was a brilliant signing. And James Vowles, we trust in you. We want some more podiums, please. Now, I heavily debated about Audi, putting them slightly lower, but purely because they're coming into an existing F1 team. They absorbed Sauber. Sauber was that stuff. I think they're going to be slightly ahead. Now, Cadillac, I'm assuming is going to be the slowest team, but just because of how big of a hype they are, like, oh, this is the 11th team coming onto the scene now. I think they're going to be slightly valued, overpriced slightly. So I will, unless a miracle happens in practice and they are like obviously ahead of the competition, I think they're going to be the back markers for a while. And Perez and Bottas are going to have to work hard to drag it away from P19, P20. Racing Bulls, I really don't have an idea where they're going to go. They seemed to do okay last year, but it was a bit underperforming. And I attribute some of that due to Mekies leaving to Laurent Mekies, I think. Please don't stone me if I got that wrong. His transfer to Red Bull, which was fantastic move, I might add, might affect Racing Bulls slightly negatively, even going into this next season. But yeah, it'll be interesting. So I think 8 million for them, Cadillac 10 million, Audi 11, Williams 12, Haas 13, Alpine 14, Aston Martin 14 mil, and then we jump up to the big boys. So I'm hoping I'm reasonably spot on, but we'll have a look. Now, moving on to the drivers. Just zoom in just a tad here for those of you who aren't wearing contact lenses or watching on a phone like I do a lot. The colors don't really mean anything. It was just arbitrarily chosen to distinguish who's teammate. So there are a few hot takes here, and I'm curious to know what you think of this. But obviously, Lando Norris, reigning world champion, McLaren, the strongest team from last year, up on a hype, 30 million start. Last year ended on 30.3, started on 29 million last year. But I think they're going to put him up there for 30 million just because he won the Drivers' Championship. And then Max Verstappen, I mean, he was voted the number one driver by the team principals. No explanation. 29 million, slightly above his starting point last year, just because he's Verstappen. Oscar Piastri started quite underpriced last year, if in my opinion. He gained a nice 2.1 million in price in value in budget last year. But just because McLaren won the championship by such a huge margin, I think they're going to be priced slightly higher as a constructor and as individual drivers as well. George Russell, excellent season for Mercedes last year. I think he's going to be a solid 26 million just because of where we expect them to be with their engine advantage. I'm still very curious to see if the engine hype actually is not just hype, and if they were the ones who, started the rumors to play some war games, But I think 21 million for him last year was quite a steal. I wish I utilized him more, but I think he's going to be around the 25, 26 million. Charles Leclerc, 24 million. Yeah, terrible year for Ferrari. Not the worst, not the best. I think the highlight of the Ferrari year for me was Hamilton winning the sprint in China, I think. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's it. But besides that, very, very lackluster year from them. I really hope they bring the fight to McLaren, Mercedes, and Red Bull, because please, a four-way fight for the championship would be so nice. Just because Leclerc did a better job with the car than Hamilton did, due to no fault of his own. There's a lot of drama there, but I think Leclerc's going to be 24 million, starting slightly lower than we started last year. Um, yeah, 24 million. Hamilton, 20 million, not because that's what he's worth, but that's because what his performance was worth. Not his fault. Definitely blame the car, amongst other reasons as well, but the car definitely was not working well beneath him. Antonelli, this who was it? It was The Race. Wrote an article about the possible awkward position Mercedes might find themselves in if Antonelli keeps bringing the pace as much as he did last year. There was only on three or four occasions where he was actually, outpacing Russell. But if he keeps going up with this raw talent he's got, Russell better watch out. So I think he's going to be higher than last year, starting at 19 million, which I think is a very fair price for his speed, his ability, and hopefully the rocket ship they've got him. I'll just put it out there. I have my favorite teams. I'm not going to say which one specifically now, but I really enjoy when a team grows from the previous year and has an advantage. It's nice when different people, different drivers are fighting for podiums, for wins, and for the championship. That is what racing is about. It sucks when your favorite driver loses, but at the same time, we enjoy watching other people win through driving skill or brilliant strategy calls from the team. Not Ferrari, but yeah. I should have worn my Ferrari shirt today, actually. Isaac Hadjar. Last year, he was very undervalued due to the team he was placed at. But I think with a Red Bull, 17 million is a safe bet. Williams, 17 million. This might be slightly optimistic, but I'm expecting a lot from Williams, especially with the Mercedes power unit. And yeah, Alexander Albon just slightly beneath that. He had a stellar increase in budget last year, but this kind of looks. I think I might have gotten something wrong here. But I do remember Sainz was priced more expensive. He was priced higher than Albon was. So I think we'll see this, but the gap closer together. Pierre Gasly. Now, ah, mm, yeah, like he's doing okay. Wasn't the best year, wasn't the worst year, but I think, yeah, I think 14 million is a bit high for him, but that's just the number that I'm feeling in my gut. Yeah. Alonso, I don't think I need to explain myself. Um, very average car last year. Did his best. He fought like a champ, like the champ he is. And I really, really hope we can get back to the 2023 level of where this car was. Like, we want to see Aston Martin getting the first podium, please. Nico Hulkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto. I'm just going to loop them together here. Hulkenberg, badass driver, really awesome. With Audi, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. They might not necessarily get very far or very high up, but I think he's rumored $50,000 bonus per point scored might be a strong motivator for him. And of course, Bortoleto, he did a phenomenal job in a quite like average, nothing to write home about car. But yeah, so I expect him to be slightly higher than he was last year. And especially because of all his history in motorsport, I expect they will bring some competition to the rest of the midfield and maybe win out in the fight with the back markers. Now, Ocon, I don't think I need to say much. Haas seems to be going at a good pace, ticking along nicely. I think 11 suits him well. Bottas and Perez were very hard for me to guess a price, but purely because of their experience as Formula One drivers and how much Cadillac is investing in the team. I think they're going to be around 10 million each. Yeah, could be right, could be like off by 4 or 5 million. We'll see. I have no idea how much the team who decides the prices weigh in historical data for drivers that haven't been driving in the last year or two. But yeah, I expect them to go up in the value. Colapinto, nice and steady, nice and stable. I think pretty safe investment. I think 8 million suits him well. I wish I could price Lance Stroll a bit lower, but he's just because it's Aston Martin, they won't price him lower than 8 million, in my opinion. So I think 8.5 million is going to be the spot for him. Lawson, um, I need to confess that I was a bit harsh on him and how much he sucked in the Red Bull, but then seeing how well he did in the Racing Bull made me gain a bit more respect for his racing craft. He was outpacing Yuki Tsunoda, who was in the Red Bull. But okay, that's not on Tsunoda. Tsunoda, I think, is also an underrated driver, and I'm really, really sorry to see him not on the grid this year. Um, we should have 12 teams, I think. Anyway, hopefully the regulation changes can entice some more constructors in. And then we have Oliver Behrman. I think he's really underrated, and Ocon better watch his back if he wants to keep the number one spot at Haas. Oliver Behrman, highly underrated last year, very solid performance, good points haul, and yeah, I like him in my team, and I'll definitely be checking the deltas between him and Ocon, expected budget increases, and so on. Just from a pure point scoring perspective, I like him. We'll see what Haas have done with their package this year. And Ovid Lindblad. I'm saying that with an Afrikaans accent, but Ovid Lindblad. I've no idea how to pronounce his name, but I'll be honest, I haven't heard of him before his announcement as the other Racing Bulls driver. So I'll just put him at the safe, like rookie price point of 6.5 million. And there you have it, my predictions for the 2026 Formula One Fantasy. I am very much looking forward to the announcements from Formula One as to when the game will launch. I'll be checking out prices as soon as they drop. We'll be doing a reaction video to that, see how close or how far we were from the prediction. And I might also throw in the other my fellow creators' price predictions in the next video as well. So if you like Formula One Fantasy, stick around and thank you for your time. Thank you for watching and watch this space. I have been working on Formula One Fantasy tool to like based on historical data. I've been working on some tools to help optimize teams, like very similar to Formula One Fantasy tools, which is chef's kiss. Kudos to those guys. I took a lot of inspiration from their project, and there are some analytics that they don't have that I would like myself. So I'm working on developing it myself, and hopefully, I'm pushing really hard to get out a V1 of the tool for early testing and playing around with soon. So I hope that a week or two before we get into the first weekend of the Australian Grand Prix, that is, the tool will be alive, available for you to play around with. And yeah, I'll do a video on it soon, as soon as I have something more concrete to show. Right now I'm in the data crunching and analysis stage. So yeah. And also want to shout out and as a final note, I want to shout out this guy on Pixels for this awesome background, royalty-free image. I just want to shout out the person who made this. So yes, consider yourself shouted out. And once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. I'm Quentin, and this is Box F1 Fantasy.